inside every experience, public participation practitioners, techniques, skills, toolkit, is a large section set aside of techniques related to public meetings. As we have discussed before, public meetings are the most frequently used technique during the public participation process. Knowing how to plan effectively public participation meetings that are appropriate to a specific situation or issue is then an essential skill for all public participation practitioners. For this reason, part 4 of the book, Public Meeting Tools, is designing and conducting meetings and workshops. This part includes the next 4 chapters. So in chapter 8, which is designing public participation meetings, 9, developing interactive meetings, 10, facilitating public meetings, and 11, determining the meeting logistics. There are many different types of public meetings. Each has value in some circumstances, and each has limitations that make it inappropriate in other circumstances. Some offer high levels of interaction, others are very formal. Table P 4.1 presents an overview of the major types of meetings, as well as my evaluation, or I should say James Creighton's evaluation of their general usefulness and limitations. First, we have the public hearing, and you have heard about the public hearing quite a bit. We also have like town meetings, briefings, and panels. We will discuss the pros and cons of each one. First, we have the public hearing. Again, this is the staple in planning. Good aspects of it include that anyone can make a comment and have it be recorded and is archived as well. The process is highly transparent and everything is in the open because again it's a public meeting. The meetings are recorded and then they're posted online. Everybody can hear what everybody said, and in the disc transcriptions the real name of the person. Sometimes also where they live and the residency is used for the record, and this becomes archival data that then is like put online and kept as a record, as a public record. Some of the limitations include that people can only go and comment for 2 minutes, and they are not discussions, so there's not a back and forward between the person listening, being the planner or the applicant or the commissioner. It's just a person talking for 2 minutes, and then there's no particularly a response back unless the chair or someone there brings it up in the discussion session. Basically you have like one person giving a comment and then the second person and the third person, and they're like very short 2-minute speeches. It can be also controlled and manipulated, but particular activist groups, people or organized groups that go to the commission or city council and they voice their opinions, but those that are going as individuals, maybe they seem as to have less power because they are not really being organized and repeating the comments over and over again. It's quite interesting how in many of these meetings that people say the same things. The staff planner or the director of the planning department or the commissioner might said, yes, we have heard this comment several times. Please try to make new comments for the record. So many times it's not about the quantity of like how many how often something comes up, but it's about providing new evidence. Because at times, if there's like many people organized saying the same thing over and over again, it becomes again just repetitive for everyone in the meeting. And what you want is to present new evidence. At the same time, if you say something over and over again, you're also more likely to be heard, which is the reason why organized groups are going to the meeting and just doing what they do best, right? Getting organized and saying their comments in different ways, with just different voices in the community. But as the author poses, this could be manipulated by overshadowing the comments of people that came on their own. And the other con is that there's little interaction, as I mentioned before, between the public and the discussion with the decision makers. So basically, at the end, the decision makers are the ones who will be discussing among themselves, and they might present their things that they want to talk about and not talk about what the public just brought up. But in many occasions, they would go back to some of those comments. Maybe it's the ones that resonate the most. Some chairs go comment by comment by comment by comment and address everyone, but that really depends on who's the chair of the planning commission. So your comments might be or not addressed, just depending on that particular individual and how important it is for he or she that the planning staff actually answers every single question that was brought up. Most times this is not the case, and you as a member of the public should not be expecting that your comment actually will be answered or addressed. So the public hearing is not the best space to do this. Perhaps sending an email to the staff planner might be a better approach, or a letter. The pros and cons of the public comment meeting, town meeting, are very similar to the public hearing. The one difference in the pro, I would say, is that there's potentially less formality. So people might feel they can contribute freely, like in the case of community council, when people, after there was a presentation by someone from the city, there will be comments open to the public, and they're not limited to 2 minutes, right? Some of the limitations is that there's very little interaction and very little discussion as well, because you're not like breaking everyone into groups and having everyone being heard. So it's like the person that happens to make the comment is the one that is being heard, and for the whole group. And there's not a lot of discussion that it goes on. Just again, someone giving a comment and someone answering that, answering to the question or giving a comment back. Then we have the briefing. So as we discussed, briefings are great for offering info to decision makers before they make the decision, as well as the public or the media. And after a 20-minute or so presentation, there's a period of questions and answers that permits some clarification on that particular briefing. But one of the limitations is that briefings are more one-way communication, where you provide the information to the city councilor or planning commissioner, maybe your advisory group, but you don't really expect comments that much. You're just like answering some questions. Part of the idea is that later on, based on those questions or comments, you can revise the report that you're working on. So it will be useful to you. However, for the most part, you don't get a lot of comments. So what you do is like give the information to whoever you need to give the information at that particular time. Then we will have panels. This is a more interactive way of conducting a briefing, just having a panel discussion, because it permits the discussion of informed viewpoints from different members of a panel. However, I would not say that it's really used as a substitute for a briefing. It is more to just offer different points and have a discussion. This is not really used formally that much in planning, unless it's like to just talk about an issue with the public and have a debate. Many planners, like with the American Planning Association, will create these kinds of interactions just to like inform people about what's going on, but also maybe having a little debate between the different panelists, or a little conversation. It doesn't have to be a debate, but simply offering the panelists' viewpoints. However, partners are not, as I said, really used in government. They could be used to inform the public in a more informal way. Personally, I have used this method within nonprofit organizations, for example, to discuss what different players, such as affordable housing developers, are doing to halt gentrification in Chicago, in the Puerto Rican community. And then there will be also legislators talking about how they can contribute to reducing the displacement of people that live in that district. And although a panel can be followed by a comment of period, just like a comment period from the public or the people who are watching, the audience, and it could be recorded, and you can create a paper or a report that later on will be open to the public. But panels are not really like a great medium for having a two-way public participation, so it will be more geared towards listening to the panelists themselves, and it will be less about what the public has to say, even though they might contribute a little bit. You will be dedicating, let's say, 1 hour to listening to 4 people, and then 20 minutes to listening to whoever are the people in the public, and that might be other 4 or 5 people.